Hello, how are you and how do you do? You'll feel right at home in a moment or two.
I was trying to jump in there before you did that, by the way. Sorry, everybody. It's Curt and Jen in the morning. Hey, did you hear that Taylor Swift is going to be the next president?
No, she's not.
We have information on that. You're right. She's not going to be the next president.
She might help decide the next one.
Yeah, coming up here with Curt and Jen in the morning. It is Tuesday, and here we are again. Here we are again.
It's Shark Week. Did you know that? Because we neglected to say that yesterday.
And I said...
that's big news.
You said that's big news, and I was like, I don't know if it's so big.
Yeah, but then you're way more excited about it than I am.
Well, we did some research on Shark Week. So if you are into the whole Shark Week thing, yes, it's Shark Week on the Discovery Channel.
It's
I did not know that it has been broadcast since 1988.
I didn't either. You asked that. You said, Jen, if you were to guess when Shark Week started, what would you say? Like 5 years ago? I'm like, yeah, 5 or 10.
No, 40 or so.
40 years ago. But what made it explode?
It says it's been the longest running cable television program event in history, broadcast in over 72 countries.
That's a lot of countries.
It is a lot of countries.
How many countries are in the world? Do you know? That's
73.
There is not. There's way more. I don't know the number, but there's way more.
More than 73. So anyway, we regret, or we missed that. And so you can blame us if you missed a day of Shark Week yesterday. Discovery Channel, it's running and super popular. And I guess I will watch some of it now. But you know what? This is a side note. This is not something we discussed. Dana and I have been sucked into a reality show that we thought was relatively new. Same thing like with Shark Week.
What is it?
Below Deck.
Oh, yeah, it's all the shenanigans that happen on cruise ships.
Yeah, so with
the staff.
So it was on in the background one day. The TV's on, and it must have been on whatever it's on.
I have no idea.
Bravo, I think. And I was like, wow, that's a nice boat. They're showing these pictures of the boat and stuff like that, and I'm watching it, and it turns out it's the reality show about the people on the boat.
Shenanigans,
the shenanigans,
Lots
exactly.
of shenanigans.
So of course, we watched the first one, and we're like, all right, let's see what the second one's. Because, of course, it ends, and it says, next one starting in 10 seconds. So, all right, watch the next one. We don't usually get sucked in.
That's how they do it.
I know that most people are like, that's been on forever, dude. It's like, well, it's new to us, so no spoiler alerts. What was your eventful night last night?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say, I wanted to go back to Shark Week really quick, because I was like, what blew Shark Week up? And you said it was Sharknado.
It may,
right?
Well,
I think you're right. I remember that.
It was, and they had these other, right around that time, there was like that 2 or 3 of these weird shark-ish, they're very far-fetched. Oh, Sharknado, the sharks get blown around in a tornado, land in your yard, and eat you.
Yes.
So it looks like that may have had something to do with when it blew, which was around 2008.
And then they had some famous people in those movies, too. Mm-hmm. So, okay. All right.
And like you said, the guy from Melrose Place. And I was like, I don't know the guy from Melrose Place, but I believe you. Who was it?
Not Melrose Place, 90210. It was Steve something. It starts with a Z. His last name starts with a Z.
Was it Ian Ziering?
Yes.
And
yes.
How do I know it's Ian and not Ian?
Because you're smart.
No, I pay attention to stupid stuff.
All
That's
right.
what it is.
My eventful night last night. So I got to have dinner with my oldest daughter, Riley, which is, as you know, rare because she's busy.
She's very busy.
She works. She goes to school full time. She's actually doing summer school at the UW. So we had our dinner, which was not great, at a new Indian restaurant. Went back to where she's house sitting.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I helped her set up an air conditioning unit because they had bought her one, but they just didn't have time to set it up. So she's like, oh, there's a puzzle that I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I'll help you with the puzzle.
Was it a jigsaw puzzle?
Yes, a jigsaw puzzle. I love me a jigsaw puzzle. So we're doing the puzzle, and I get this text in all capital letters from a friend who lives right down the street from where Riley's house sitting. And she's like, please look at your phone messages right now. Your phone messages. I just sent you one.
And that's scary to get that.
Yeah,
right away.
Caps, very urgent. And I'm like, oh, gosh, okay. So I look at it, and it says, and she says to me, Jen, if Riley is at it's the All's house. At the All's house right now, you need to tell her right now, because she doesn't have Riley's contact information, to close all the windows, bring in the dogs, lock the doors. There is a manhunt going on right now.
Oh, that was in her area?
Yes. And so I call her up right away. I'm like, what's going on? This guy had violated a no contact order with his dad because he's tried to kill his dad a couple times.
Jeez.
This happened in the house, I guess, that was literally, you could see like there's woods and then a house. And that's where it was happening, from the backyard of where Riley's house sitting, right? So we lock everything up. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to hunker down with you until this ends.
Right.
So 9:30 rolls around. I mean, and we're talking, there's all these updates like, okay, the Snohomish County Sheriff has brought in Bothell police.
Right.
There's a drone flying. They're going to release the canine dogs.
Wow.
9:30 rolls around. They're like, and the gal that called me said, I have footage of the guy running past my ring cam.
That's too close for comfort.
Right?
Way too close.
Anyway, they called off the search because they couldn't find him, and then all of a sudden they called it back on because they thought they'd seen him, but we don't have an update. Riley ended up going to stay at her dad's house.
Wow.
That's close. And we rearranged things with the dogs, with the neighbor who said, I'll come in the morning and let the dogs out for you. But, that's scary. Like, it's kind of scary, right? And there's no blinds. It's like this horror movie happening right in front of us. Like, okay, Riley, we're doing the puzzle, and her back's to the backyard and my back's to the front yard. I'm like, you got me, I got you, in case we see him running.
There you go. Well,
Anyway.
what I think will be interesting to see, in the coming months and years or whatever, they catch the guy or whatever, it's all in the past, but you have legit, we saw him on camera run by our video camera, right? That person said it.
Yeah.
But how many people are gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened. I bumped into that guy.
It's crazy.
He was out walking around, and I said, hey, how you doing? And he's like, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but the stories are gonna build.
Yeah, and why weren't they able to catch him? I don't even know. Did a car come pick him up? And it's got to be on someone's ring cam. Anyway, that was the crazy drama and a little bit scary and
from last night.
Yeah.
And we still don't have an update, right?
I don't have any updates. That's the thing. I don't know if they caught him. I mean, I have no text saying. I mean, the last one was like at 11:30 last night, saying no word.
All right.
There you go.
But we're safe.
I thought that was exciting.
We're safe at this house, right?
Right?
We're a little ways away.
Was that a dumb story? I thought that was exciting.
No, it was exciting.
Okay.
People are on the edge of their seats.
Stop.
Still.
All right, let's just move on to Gen Zers and tattoo regrets.
Apparently. This is the headline. Gen Z has hit the, quote, tattoo regret stage of life. They're saying now, Gen Zers, the oldest Gen Zers are now in their late 20s. USA Today did this big write-up on how a lot of Gen Zers are hitting the tattoo regret stage of their life. Now, I don't know about tattoo regret stage because I have 0 tattoos.
I have 0 as well.
Right. So I have no regret either way. I certainly don't regret not getting any tattoos.
Nope.
I guess apparently because we're heading into wedding season, what's been trending on TikTok is a lot of brides are like now saying, oh, you know what? I didn't consider that my tattoo might clash with their wedding dress.
Duh. Like you just...
Or not even clash, but just, I got this nice, off-the-shoulder wedding dress, and here's my big tattoo of, I don't know, Barney the dinosaur.
Well,
okay, nobody has that one. So
people do have tattoo regrets. Mm-hmm. I think it's hard to think long-term, right? It's like older people giving advice to younger people. You have to live it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't know. I'm never going to regret this.
I think it's very hard for younger people because we know that their brain's not fully developed. And even when it is fully developed, we have a hard time making good decisions and looking into the future and the big picture of things.
He's never going to leave me. I love him forever. That's why I have Steve across my whole back. Steve. Okay.
Anyway, it's interesting to see. We watched a video of one of these younger people who is covered in tattoos. Like, I have tattoo regret. Am I going to get rid of them? No, but I wish I wouldn't have done what I did.
And she started getting some of them removed, but this is like,
mega tattoo,
sleeve and whatnot. So maybe think twice before you're going to do a sleeve as your first tattoo.
Well, I'm just we're not here to judge at all.
No.
It's just this story about like people are coming forward now that are younger saying, gosh, I regret this.
Mm-hmm. But here's the quote. Here's a time when the older people were right. Every now and again we get one right.
Older people, we're right a lot because we've lived a little.
We've lived some life.
This is fun. McDonald's is adding a new McFlurry.
Yes. And did you want to... The funny thing about this story, it says that McDonald's is adding a new McFlurry, a new flavor of McFlurry. But it starts with, hey, could McDonald's start selling salads again soon? No salads. Nobody wants them. Remember when they had the salads, the McSalads?
Because you don't go to McDonald's. You're going to McDonald's for...
Bingo.
A burger and nuggets and...
Right. You can't really... I guess you can't really blame them for trying to say, hey, we've got this healthy option. But as I recall...
A filet of fish.
The salads were not that healthy of an option either. They just had a ton of calories and whatnot.
With the dressing and all that.
You're not going to see the salads coming back anytime soon, probably. But... You're going to see the new Kit Kat McFlurry this week.
Yay!
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a Kit Kat Banana Split McFlurry.
What's in it?
Kit Kat.
Yep.
Crushed up, right?
Yep.
Vanilla soft served, real banana, strawberry clusters, There you go. Those are the 4 parts.
I'm not sure about the strawberry clusters part. Like, if they're making it fresh, I'm just going to ask for Kit Kat and banana in my real vanilla soft serve ice cream. Actually, it's not real vanilla, just vanilla soft serve.
So you're not a strawberry girl.
I do like strawberries, but I don't think I'm going to like it with the Kit Kat.
Well, you'd never know until you try.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Anyway, I'm excited for that to be a thing.
We'll go try it.
It hits tomorrow.
Menus, it'll be on the McDonald's menus tomorrow.
Do it.
The Kit Kat banana split McFlurry. Again, we're not doing spots for McDonald's, but this is just one that Jen saw. We got to talk about this, which is true.
Well, I love Kit Kats, and I love McDonald's, and I love McFlurry. So
what we kind of joked about at the beginning, we kind of joked about Taylor Swift being the next president. Here's the deal. She's not going to be. Well, actually, we don't know.
Well, I mean, she might.
Here's the deal.
I can't.
Right. So a lot of people have been calling since the, let's just say that the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden did not go as well as people would have liked on either side. They were both.
Right. It was disappointing.
It was looked at as a failure and a flop all around. However, so there have been some people saying, we're not sure if Joe Biden is, good to serve for another 4 years, because he's been showing some, I guess common things when you're 80 or 81, you'd expect to see.
Yeah.
So there's talking around, well, do we replace Joe Biden with a new candidate, and how long would that take? And can we, apparently there is talks.
There's talk.
This is from the big donors. We're not big donors, but big donors. We don't know
how serious this is, but it is something that's floating around in the universe right now.
The memo is circulating from their big donors proposing a plan to hold a month-long blitz primary, quote unquote, featuring 6 candidates chosen by party delegates. So far, all right, we can see that happening. During that process, candidates will participate in weekly forums moderated by various cultural icons, such as Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and, yes, Taylor Swift. So we'll see if that comes to be.
Here's the thing to me. This is brilliant. I really do believe that, because here's the thing. We get some more choices, thank goodness, because I truly believe we need them on both sides. I'm really disappointed. I'm really having a hard time with this whole thing. But to bring in these celebrities that people love so much, that will hopefully get people to actually watch and pay attention and make some educated decisions. So that's why I like this.
You'd think so, but and that is an issue when it comes down to it. I mean, most people, I think, already had their minds made up before the debate even happened. And that's when, of course, all hell broke loose. Like, whoa, we didn't know that by appearances that Joe Biden is struggling with some things.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of which, by the way, we should say the Daily Show thing here.
I want to.
Yeah, it's
so Curt and I do research. We've talked about this. We do a little show prep, as we call it, before we crack the mics and start recording.
Yes, we don't do it blindly.
And we get squirreled all the time on things. And I was looking up. I can't remember what I was looking up, but I'm like, oh, look at Daily Show. Jon Stewart did something. By
the way, just so we know, is getting squirreled, is that a known term, or is that just us?
I feel like it's a known term. Like you're on this path, and then something like bright shiny object over here, and you're like, squirrel.
That's what it came from, right? The Up movie. So that's what getting squirreled is. And yes, we got squirreled to watch the opening of last night's Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Very introspective and really, really funny. And it's not,
it's not biased.
That's the thing. If you're thinking, and that's one of the things that they covered is like, listen, we can't just be nice and say, so he's the president, leader of the free world, no big deal, he had an off night or whatnot. I mean, it's serious. You got to say, well, is this the person? Not so much, and I think that was the problem before, is a lot of people are like, well, maybe this is not the best option, but we really don't want the other option. And that seems kind of how both sides felt about this.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, maybe this Joe Biden option is not the best thing. We'll see what happens.
We're promoting this only because Curt and I think that Jon Stewart is very brilliant. He is a funny man. His timing is impeccable. He has great writers. I think he's a great writer himself. Yeah. And it is worth watching if you want a good laugh. And
I think people also think that there's going to be a slant, and sometimes the slants go both ways. Trust me, he's not holding back on.
He's wicked
old
smart
Joe Biden.
Too. That's the other thing about all of it. He is smart.
To get a chance to watch last night's Daily Show, I'll
try to put the link in the Facebook post. I'll try to do that.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, a lot of the country, man, there's some crazy weather going on. We've got, obviously the Hurricane Beryl is coming in.
Throughout the country, yeah.
But a lot of the country has been under severe heat. And I think that our heat, what do they call it? The heat warning? I think that ends today.
Extreme heat warning? It does?
I know that they had at one point.
In the Seattle area, by the way.
They had stretched it out to the 9th, which is today, but it might have gone even beyond that.
Because it's supposed to be a high of 89, which, people, if you're listening outside of the Seattle area,
89 doesn't sound like that much.
Amateur hour people, that's amateur hour.
Problem is that most people in this area don't have air conditioning. So
so 89, 83 tomorrow. Thursday is 79, Friday 79, and then back up to the 80s for the weekend. But full sunshine still.
Yes, you love that.
I do love it.
Keep thinking about your doggies too. And I know that this is a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, I already knew that," but I think that this is good information.
What are the reminders? Tell us.
These are dog breeds that are most at risk for heat stroke in summer, and unfortunately, a lot of people, still feel, "Oh, a doggy stays outside," which is frustrating, but it is what it is. So this comes from the chief veterinarian at Petco.
Okay.
Dogs with these features are most susceptible to heat stroke. Flat-faced dogs.
Okay.
Because apparently their short snouts, they tend to have narrow airways and it's harder to breathe.
Okay.
Also long-haired dogs. That just makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like they're wearing a sweater. Yeah.
You know what? As I look at this, it's like all dogs.
And it says, but they also say, so a summer haircut might be in order. Mm-hmm. But like Snotty Sailor, my
long
dog.
Hair.
She has long hair, but she would look ridiculous with the haircut. It wouldn't look
But she also gets to stay inside the air conditioning.
She does.
Young and old dogs, they're more at risk than dogs in the prime of their life. And finally, dogs that are overweight or have pre-existing conditions. So this covers a lot of different dogs. As far as the breeds go, they did offer a few things like bulldogs, boxers, pugs. Again, that's the flat face, right? Boston Terriers, Shih Tzus. I said it like that. Chow Chows, Huskies, and Golden Retrievers because they're hairy.
Yeah, the Huskies have a lot of hair.
That's true. So
just be careful. Just be mindful of your puppers, your pupperamas. They're suffering too in the heat.
If they're outside and maybe you're outside with them, just doing
what can you do? What can you do to help?
Keep an eye out for if they have excessive panting, excessive drooling, rapid breathing, weakness, vomiting, or look disoriented. Things to do: always have water available. That should be just year round.
Well, year round, and I like to put ice cubes when it's real hot.
And Sailor likes to eat them. So always have water available. Don't leave them outside for too long. Make sure there's shade. Don't walk them midday. And this is another thing. If you saw
paws, right?
Yeah. Did you see that video? Did we talk about that?
No.
I think it was in Arizona, and it was an older gentleman. He fell. Not a big deal, but just in the time that he was laying on the concrete, he got burns all over his arm.
No way.
And then when he went to pick himself up with his other hand, he got because it is so stinking hot.
Oh, in Arizona.
In Arizona, yeah. That's not so. You remember that their paws. Get hot too. And finally, never leave them in your car, even if it's parked in the shade.
And even with the windows down?
You know what? I think what's gotten to the point now, and I may be wrong about this, but for decades and centuries, you've been saying, okay, just leave the window cracked for your dog. Well, some people seem to think that that's like a half an inch. And that's not going to do a lick of good at all. There's not going to be any airflow through there at all. So unless you're willing to roll your windows down like halfway, and honestly, I don't care if somebody takes something out of the car. There's a big German Shepherd in there for the most part, so they're not going to go in there anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it to if you roll your window down an inch, it's not going to do a lick of good. So unless you're going to give them the ability to stick their heads out.
Kurt is very passionate about this.
It's true, and I apologize if it sounds like I'm on a soapbox for a lot of people that but just so rather than just saying, well, if you take your dog out, park it in the shade and crack the windows. They're saying just don't leave them in the car at all.
Okay.
That's the safest way to go. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Now on with our regularly scheduled program.
Seriously? We're going from that to this.
Yes.
Rules the Bachelorette contestants have to follow.
This is one that Jen found.
Season 21 of The Bachelorette kicked off last night. I did not watch it.
Okay.
Did you?
No.
Okay.
Do you ever watch it?
I used to when it first started, and then I'm like, why am I watching this? It makes me feel gross. Like, I would never do the show. I don't like what it stands for.
Right.
And rarely do they find true love. Rarely.
The only reason I know anything that goes along with this, like the rose ceremony, is that what it's called, is, when you're doing a radio show, you have to know what, you have to live the demo is what they say, basically. That doesn't mean you're going to do everything that the listeners in the demographic do, but it was a very popular show, so I watched it a couple times, and I'm like, this is not for me. However, I do know what happens a little bit.
Yeah, so anyway, some of the rules are like the regular ones, like you have to be 21 or older. There's no upper limit, though. You got to be single, which should go without saying because you're going on this kind of show, but there's been a lot of
people try to sneak it. Well, I'm not really technically married,
and then things come up during the show that's like, oh, you are in a relationship. Contestants have to be agree to be filmed 24/7 because it's a reality show,
and the show they can do whatever they want with that footage, whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can use that footage of you.
No cell phones. They take them actually when filming begins. They can't play any music because there's all those music right things, which is why we can't play
music rights. That's a big deal.
Music here. And they can't have internet. It's like you are tucked away from the world. You are hidden and you're being recorded all the time.
In your Bachelorette bubble. However, there are some other rules that you may not have thought of that, and this is important. The contestants are asked to take a physical and psychological test because even though the producers love drama, right?
They don't want too crazy.
They don't want too crazy a drama.
I was surprised that they have to bring their own clothes. I actually thought that they were styled. Now, the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, whoever's doing the choosing, they get some styling. But if you're one of the ones, trying to fight for the love of this one, you have to bring your own clothes. Yeah. And there's some rules around the clothes that you bring too, like you have to avoid patterns that clash on camera. You can't do stripes and checkers and big patterns and no solid whites.
Right.
And then the limo entrances, of course, are strategically arranged.
What's the limo entrance?
So it's the beginning of the show. They decide who's going to come in first and second and third, like what order they're going to be shown.
So all the contestants come in on their own limo?
Well, the show provides the limo, but yeah, they come in a limo and step out.
But just not the Bachelorette or the Bachelor. So
they're waiting. So the Bachelor or the Bachelorette,
are in the limo.
In this case, it's the Bachelorette. They're in their location. They're waiting for these limos to show up to meet
all these people.
The possible love of their life.
Okay. So that's the limo entrances. How about, and I didn't notice this in the few times I've watched it, contestants don't normally eat on dates because, well, it doesn't look good on TV, eating. And the microphones pick up all the chewing sounds.
So they feed them before the actual big date.
Yeah.
So that when the food's put in front of them, they don't eat it.
And if they get nervous, they throw up.
I guess
I don't know about that.
And of course, the rose ceremonies are far longer than what we get to see on TV. And, of course,
this part, they cannot disclose, not only can contestants not disclose that they've been cast from the very beginning. You can't tell anybody until until it actually airs. There's all kinds of confidentiality agreements that you just to attend a casting session that you have to sign. So
when it's all said and done, you have to sign all this paperwork that says, I will not talk about any of this until the show airs.
And I believe that there is a financial, like money, like, we will sue you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
If you ruin the show, they'll sue you. For sure.
Sue your ass. So
What's this, Curt?
So now you know this stuff, by the way, before you go on.
Don't you feel better about life now?
The Bachelor or the Bachelorette, you have to do those things. Yes, I did grab this. The headline said, "Are Midwesterners really more polite?" Because that seems to be the image. Folksy people in the Midwest. I was born in Cincinnati. I went to high school and college in Iowa. And then, I did radio in Davenport, Iowa, and Dayton, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Detroit. So I've lived all over the Midwest.
Okay.
They did we should stop saying they. A poll was done.
Yes.
They asked 2,000 Midwesterners to find out and see if there are more polite than other areas of the country. Now, the caveat here is they didn't poll other people in the country.
I was just going to say they're asking Midwesterners if they're the most polite.
Well, what they found was just percentages on these things. So we can share this and you can say, well, maybe I do that, maybe I don't.
Okay.
They asked them, Midwesterners, do you apologize when you've done nothing wrong? 3/4 of Midwesterners say, yeah, I do that regularly. And I just think that's just a reflex. Oh, sorry about that. It's like, oh, wait, I didn't do anything wrong, but you just say it. That's almost Canadian, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wave to people you don't know.
Do you do that?
Sure.
Me too.
We talked about that at one point. I just, I'll take a day. I'm going to say, hello to everybody and wave at them. Hold the doors for strangers. Half of Midwesterners claim that they hold the door for strangers.
You do that, don't you?
Yeah,
I do that.
Well, if you're walking out and there's somebody behind you, you'll hold the door, right?
Yeah.
You won't let it slam back, and I think that's what this is about. So I hope everybody does that. Some things on there like bring a shared dish to a party. That, again, 3/4 of Midwesterners say they do that. But doesn't everybody, if it's a potluck,
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
You have to do that?
Skewed. Smile at strangers, 80%. Yes.
Not the creepy smile that... You have a nice smile.
I
do too, but sometimes the creepy sound. It can just be weird. 60% of Midwesterners say that they tip well.
What?
How do you describe...
Help a neighbor with a chore. Give stranger directions.
That was 8 in 10 Midwesterners would give a stranger directions. That doesn't come up that much anymore because people are just, well, I'm just going to look at my phone. Obey the speed limit. Only 40% of Midwesterners say that they usually obey the speed limit, and just about a third yield to other cars in traffic.
How much more of this do we have to listen to about Midwesterners?
0.
Okay.
That was the end of it.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last of the data.
So the nicest city in the Midwest is...
St. Paul, Minnesota. They did they crunched all the numbers in this survey we just told you about, and I guess they found that St. Paul, Minnesota is the nicest city, and also Minnesota is the nicest state. I guess that's a consideration if you're planning on moving to the Midwest.
Yes.
Minnesota is where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
The rudest people in the Midwest? Indiana? They're in Indiana.
Evansville and Fort Wayne. I actually turned down a job in Fort Wayne when I was first starting in radio. I think it was, it doesn't matter where, but yeah.
Columbus, Ohio is one of the rudest too.
That's where...
Detroit, Michigan does not surprise me.
Yeah. Detroiters they're a special breed.
They're rough.
So...
But we love them no matter what.
And as you're listening to this, hopefully you were saying, listeners, that, I do that. So you're good people too.
Just like
you're polite people.
We're polite. I think if they pulled the West Coast, we'd probably be...
Seattle? Yeah.
Although everyone says it's the Seattle freeze.
I think that's mostly with dating and meeting new groups
people,
of people.
But we're from afar, we're polite.
I like that. From afar, we're polite. Okay. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow, we want to know, I really like this because I love learning about how I can be better in a relationship and how I can show up better.
So what we're looking for is the best love and or dating advice you've ever received. Okay, examples.
Yes.
When someone shows you their true colors, believe them the first time. That was some dating advice that somebody got.
I should have got that before a relationship I was in.
Is that saying, well, that sounds almost like know when to get out, right? Is that what that's saying?
I think so. It's like, trust what they're showing you. Mm-hmm. Like they're showing you who they are the first time.
And if it's bad, zip.
Yeah.
How about this advice? Don't jump into a relationship just because you fear being alone. I agree with that, but how would you know why you're getting into a relationship? I mean, for the people that are saying, yeah, I'd like to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be, is it because they fear being alone, or are they just like, hey, I want to have somebody to hang out with?
That's a good question. Don't jump into a relationship just because I think it's like, don't settle. I think that's what that says.
Okay.
To me, don't settle just because you don't want to be alone.
Because you'll end up in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Where they'll show their true colors.
Yeah. And
then you should get out.
And one of the best dating advices that I was reading that I thought was really good is like, be your authentic self. Don't be who you think this person wants you to be. If you show up authentically and as your own self, good things will come.
Although on first dates and stuff, you kind of got to kick it up a notch. You got to be the best version of your best self.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's still be your best authentic self.
Okay.
That's what it is.
No fibbing.
So anyway, we want to know what the best advice you've ever received.
Love or dating advice.
We want to learn from what you know.
Right. You can all the platforms we're on, or if you're watching this on YouTube, which by the way, feel free to give us a like or a follow.
That's right. Like, follow,
We'd love the support. We appreciate it.
We need more subscribers.
You follow us, we will follow you back, right? Follow us, we'll follow you.
Yes.
That sounds right. And let us know your best love or dating advice.
Yes. Continue to stay cool. Stay safe if you're in one of those hurricane zones, right?
Yeah. It's bad news.
Listening from one of those hurricane zones. It is bad news. And of course, always make good choices. Find that joy and spread kindness.